Hello, everyone. Today, Nolan and I are going to start a fantastic podcast where, well, for this first episode at least, we're going to talk about some politics. So I have a bunch of topics lined up, and Nolan and I are going to sit here and give our take on them because we are definitely the most qualified people to do that.
100%. Part of me wants to go get a drink just for this.
Trust me, we might need them, especially after we look through some of these articles and headlines. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this Elon Musk salute. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to get the video here pulled up and then let me share my screen here. So I'm going to show you guys the video of where he does this quote unquote angry mustache man salute, which is not what this is at all. And you'll quickly see that. So I'm going to pull it up for you guys. Probably should have muted the TV so it doesn't like echo. Yeah, you get the mute the TV. Perfect. All right. That way they can just hear it through the TV. So this right here is what they're talking about. He's talking to the crowd, right? And then he puts his hand on his heart and he makes this awkward gesture.
So when I watched the video, I'm looking at it, and everyone who questions that it's a salute from you-know-who baffles me. Because it looks like the man is just waving his hand out. Like,
right.
Some people will go and do a normal wave. I do this a lot to wave at people. So he's just putting his hand on his heart, saying thank you to everyone.
Exactly.
It looks very compromising.
It does look bad, especially the still image of it looks very bad. But that is why I have this other article here that I'm also going to pull up and share. I think this is really funny. I think this whole article is really funny, by the way, because it just shows how deranged people are. So I'm going to pull up my screen again to show you guys. All right. So here's a picture of Obama, right? A still picture. Now, obviously, this is probably taken out of context, but so was what we just watched. Obama's doing the same thing here. He's got his hand held out, and it looks bad. And it's not just him. There are more. That one's really bad. There's my favorite person, Hillary Clinton.
I was going to say, that one I would actually believe, no offense.
Yeah, that one's actually really bad right there. Here's Kamala Harris in this very grainy image they have here.
But I was going to say, I can definitely tell that's just her waving her hand.
And here's Elizabeth Warren. You can kind of see it off the side here. And here's Obama again. So what I find really interesting is, so the article here says, so it's pretty much a fact check. Like, did these politicians do the no salute, right? And it's giving a false rating, right? Because obviously they're not doing it. It's taken out of context. So the title of the article, the problem is, no, these politicians did not make the same gesture as Elon Musk. So they're saying that these politicians aren't doing it, but Elon Musk still is. Because all they're falsifying here is Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Obama, and Warren. They're not saying that Elon did not do it. Instead, these other ones are okay. But when Elon does the same thing, no, that's definitely him doing it.
Yeah, mass tweets about it, goes on the internet, talked about. Like, I don't remember hearing anything about these motherfuckers.
No, and that's crazy to me. That, okay, so all these people can do it. In fact, here's a different one of my favorite presidential candidate. So, like, here's a little bit better quality. So, like, why can they do an awkward gesture and get away with it? But Elon Musk is a brilliant idiot. I don't mean that as an insult because I'm an idiot. But what I mean is he's very smart, but he's socially awkward. If you've ever seen this guy up on stage or anything, he's flailing his arms around and everything. So, like, he is a very socially awkward person, but he's a genius. I'm just both. I'm just dumb and I'm socially awkward. So at least he gets something there. I don't get anything there. But the point I'm trying to make is like, I'm pretty sure just obviously just looking at that, like, what? He's not doing it.
Especially if he's holding his heart first and then he does it.
Right. I mean, hey, if anybody has seen the actual no salute, which obviously I'm not going to pull up and show, or do, obviously, it's not the same thing. It's very different from what he did and from what the other people we just pulled up there did. Obviously, they're all taken out of context. So that article only said that those 4 were taken out of context, and Elon Musk, oh no, he actually did it, which makes no sense. And you can't, if a politician or somebody else like Elon Musk, for example, actually went out there and did that, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody would ever talk to this man again. Nobody's ever going to support this man. But that's not what he did. So that was the first topic we wanted to go over here because I thought that was insane.
Yeah. Especially if he's just enjoying his time. He was happy up there. And people were trying to make him look like the bad guy.
No, he was having a blast. When Elon Musk gets really excited, he starts like jumping up and down. He starts waving his hands all around.
He wasn't sitting still. He kept moving back and forth.
Yeah.
Excited. And now people are taking it, turning it around, being like, oh, he did the salute. Oh, no.
Yeah. And he was very excited because, Trump has just won. And he was very supportive of Trump in this election, obviously. So he was very excited. He was thankful to everybody. So he was just having a good time, and definitely did not mean to do that. And if he was some sort of secret no person, why would he just get up on stage and do it? Like, it makes no sense. But the left wanted to fixate on this point for no reason at all, and they'll still hammer it down. I still see it on Facebook, people bringing this up, and I'm like, you really got to grasp at straws if you're going after that. So next thing we're going to talk about here is something the vice president was talking about in a recent interview. So obviously most of the media and people that interview Trump and J.D. Vance here are obviously biased, and if you were to watch this interview, you would obviously tell that this person is biased. So what was going on here is that the reporter here asked about prices, saying pretty much, this isn't a quote, but I'm paraphrasing, people voted for Trump to get the prices down. So this interview was 5 days after Trump was elected. How people think prices are going to come down after 5 days of Trump being in office, I don't know. But now this is a quote. I'm going to read exactly what Vance told this reporter here. Prices are going to come down, but it's going to take a little bit of time. The president has been president for all of 5 days. I think in those 5 days, he's accomplished more than Joe Biden did in 4 years, which I would agree with. I can't remember one good thing Biden did in 4 years.
I never followed Biden, so I wouldn't know.
Except make himself look like a fool. I took some good naps. Yeah, I took some good naps. I guess if you want to include that as some good accomplishments by a president, then sure, he did a great job with those.
Sniffed a little kid's hair.
Oh, yeah. He loved that, let me tell you. He was really good at that. So if we're basing presidents off of that, I'd say Joe Biden's definitely like number 2. There's definitely another person that I'd probably put above him. Somebody related to who I was talking about earlier. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I want to give my take on, because I've been seeing this point being brought up a lot by people on the left. Well, why are egg prices coming down? Why aren't grocery prices coming down? Why aren't prices coming down in general, I guess? They really want to focus on eggs, though, which is funny because there's a bird flu going around pretty much, killing off chickens. How the president can control that, beyond me. But then again, everybody wanted to blame COVID on Trump. So
yeah, I remember that too.
Funny how that works. But anyway,
in this society, people just need someone to blame, and obviously Republicans are the biggest thing to blame.
Yeah, no kidding. The left loves that instead of blaming the actual thing, they'll pick apart whoever the president is, if they're Republican, or whoever the highest person in the Republican Party is. So pick apart and blame it all on them. Or if the Republican president was before the Democratic president, then they'll have a heyday with that one. They love that one too. But my point is, how can you expect, after him being president for 5 days, to bring down prices already? I think that's crazy.
He can't just get in the office and be like, all right, well, prices down.
And
it's not possible.
Exactly. And that's one of the things. Nobody said anything about the left. Let me be more specific. The left didn't say anything about prices for Joe Biden's presidency.
Right? Gas prices shot up and no leftist was complaining about that.
No, they kept their mouth shut about that. But as soon as Trump's back in the office, well, why aren't the prices down? Well, how did the prices get there? Well, you guys don't want to talk about that. You guys don't want to talk about the awful economic policies that Biden laid out. Instead, you'd rather talk about how Trump hasn't fixed the issue in 5 days. Like, I don't know. That's crazy to me. But that one was more of a short topic I just wanted to talk about because we got some bigger topics to discuss. But I thought that was actually insane that people were going to think prices were going to come down after him being president for 5 days. I think that's unrealistic, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. So, I don't know did you hear about that plane crash?
I didn't.
No? Okay. So I don't know if you went into this article I sent you or not. But for those, I'm sure everybody, most people at least have probably heard about it. At Reagan International Airport, a military helicopter crashed into a civilian airplane. No survivors. I did see a video of a security camera, pretty much, and you can see just like an explosion in the background and then falling debris. Like it's pretty bad. Like nobody survived it. We still don't know all the information. They recovered the black boxes, so we should know more information soon. But obviously, whenever something like this happens, politics have to get involved for some reason. And I will be a little bit critical of Trump here because I think he jumped the gun a little bit on what he said, but I also think what he said has a little bit of merit. So I'm going to read off some quotes from this CNN article. Most of my articles I've used today have been for CNN because I love seeing their bias against Trump and I love picking them apart. So shortly after the president declared there were no survivors, referring to the plane crash, obviously, he pointed the finger of blame to his old political rivals, suggesting diversity initiatives led to lax aviation standards that contributed to the crash. J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, and the new Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, echoed his view. So, yeah, Trump probably shouldn't have said anything yet. Is it very possible that those terrible initiatives had something to do with it? Yes. But he jumped the gun a little bit. He should have waited until there was more evidence. And later, he does acknowledge that he kind of walks it back a little bit. But pretty much what he was referring to was the DEI initiatives that were put in place by former administrations, such as the Biden and Obama administration, that focused more on hitting quotas with diversity hires than by merit, which makes no sense. That's another big talking point, actually, that we're going to go into here. Kind of lump it all into one. DEI in general, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that's been a big thing on the headlines. President Trump has talked about wanting to get rid of those. The problem is that there's a lot of pushback, obviously, from the left. People are calling him racist. Here's my philosophy. Skin color doesn't matter. Background, culture, none of that, sexual orientation. none of that matters. What matters is, can you do the job? When you're trying to pick out diverse people, you're doing something wrong, especially when it comes to something as important as air traffic controllers or really anybody that gets behind a plane, in a cockpit. You shouldn't be worried about, are they black, Hispanic, white, Asian, whatever. You should be worried about, can they do the job?
Do they have the most experience? Have they flown for a while? Stuff like that.
Exactly. You want to, it's merit. It should be based off of merit. But with these DEI, which is why Trump wants to get rid of these so bad, is because they'd rather focus in on race and sexual orientation, things like that.
Because nowadays, if you don't pick someone let's say we pick a white person that knows how to fly, but a black person decided to apply for the job as well, the left is going to take that as, why didn't you hire the black person?
Yeah, exactly. Just like when you look at when Trump made his cabinet picks, it's a lot of white people. I think there was one person of color on there. Once again, our country is majority white. So, I mean, when you're picking people, they're probably going to be white, just statistically speaking, because most people in the U.S. are white. There was one African American in there, and there was plenty of women in there as well. So here's my problem with DEI. You get people like Kamala Harris. I don't think anybody on the left can tell me that she wasn't a DEI candidate for Biden when he was picking a vice president, because he could not have picked a worse vice president. But he did it because she was a person of color and she was a woman. I guarantee. What other qualifications did she have? Like, we saw how she ran against Trump. That was terrible. She couldn't sit down and have an interview. She had her word salads. It was absolutely terrible. Every time she would get up, there are clips of, like, I've seen clips where there's like 8 different like slides, and it's at her rallies, and it's verbatim the exact same thing in every single rally, because she's just reading off a teleprompter. At least she could do that. Joe Biden couldn't even read off the teleprompter. So I guess there's that. If you want to talk about merit, she could read off the teleprompter until it broke down. Then she started freaking out. She didn't know what to do. But anyway, those are all old things. My point is, you get people like her when you start doing DEI. I'm not saying there's no good candidates of color out there. Obviously there are. When we were having the Senate races here in Michigan, back in 2016, I believe his name was John James, was running for Senate, and he was an African American, and I fully supported him because I thought he was going to do a great job. Unfortunately, he did not win. He got beat out by a like 60-year-old white guy. See, if it was the other way around, we would be the racist ones for not voting in the person of color. But because the Democrats had the white person and we had the person of color, it's okay. It's okay. But that's my point, is that you get bad choices. Another one is Pete. I'm going to butcher his last name. Pete Buttigieg. I'm saying that wrong. I'm getting it close. But the Department of Transportation Secretary under Biden. The only reason he got the job was because he was outwardly gay. I would like to see anybody point to any sort of qualifications that he could have ran that department. And I think he did a terrible job at running that department. You get people like that with DEI hire, which is why Trump's getting rid of it. This kind of rounds out to something else I want to talk about. I have a lot of other quotes in here, but I think most of this I kind of covered in a paraphrased way. Here's an interesting one, though. So there is one talking about how there's evidence to support that there's not enough federal employees. And then people, the left, I keep saying people, it's just the left, are then saying, well, Trump's firing everybody. That's why this plane accident happened. So both sides are politicizing this, so don't get it wrong. Trump isn't the only one. So my problem with that is I think he's getting rid of people who couldn't do their job. That's my thing. I don't, and he's getting rid of useless departments like DEI. Like, why is that? Why are taxpayers funding that department? I don't want my tax-paying dollar going to that. What the hell?
Especially if they're not doing a good job.
Right. It's just, I don't want that. According to a 2023 FAA report, about 2% of FAA employees had the targeted disabilities Trump mentioned in his comments. So I want to make this very clear. Why is that not 0%? Why is there 2% of FAA employees that have these disabilities that Trump mentioned? I don't think anybody in the FAA should have any disabilities like that if they're working in the FAA. So they trap, this is also a CNN article, of course. They trap this number out like it's not a bad thing. I think it should be 0%. I don't know what to tell you. Last thing I want to talk about, and I kind of lumped it in here, affirmative action. That's an old talking point, but it kind of goes back to the DEI premise. For people who don't know, affirmative action was used in a lot of schools, especially like Harvard and a lot of higher institutions, because they wanted to get more. It's the same basis as DEI. They wanted to get more diversity in their schools. So, excuse me. So they were looking to hit a quota instead of merit. So obviously Harvard only takes in a certain number of students each year, right? So the problem was there might be Asian, and there are studies to show that Asian and white Americans got hurt by this, which is kind of ironic. But the Asians, at least, because it's not very DEI. So the university would have to pick, let's say they had 50, just out of an example, 50 options left to pick. And the 50 best candidates were white or black, or not black, white or Asian. And then maybe the next DEI person was like the 100th best. They would pick them over the people that are the best because they're trying to hit a quota. And that's just not right. And the left still supports affirmative action. I don't know how. That's literally racism. Because once again, you're not going based off of merit. I just want to bring affirmative action up because it's the same premise as DEI. So I'm glad Trump's doing away with that whole thing. I know he's getting a lot of backlash from the left for it, but I think most people voted him in because they saw that it was ridiculous. Next thing we're going to talk about Project 2025. Do you know anything about Project 2025? Okay. And some people probably don't. I would say most people probably don't. At least people who don't follow politics regularly probably don't know what Project 2025 is. So pretty much what Project 2025 is it was created by a conservative think tank, and it is pretty much I think it said like 900 pages of what conservatives would like to happen in this election. Or I shouldn't say this election, this presidency, now that the election's over. So there were some controversial things in there. So what the left was doing was saying, this is all Trump. Trump's going to implement Project 2025. So I'm going to go over some quotes here. So once again, another CNN article, by the way. So I'm going to read off the title of the article. Trump said he hadn't read Project 2025, but most of his early executive orders overlap with his proposals. So the reason I picked this article is because I'm going to tear it to shreds right here. I'm going to prove that they are just trying to make them look bad. So let's go over some of the things they're talking about. So the first one here is, I'm just going to read it, a quote from the article here. Though Trump had routinely lambasted the FEMA throughout his third White House bid, he had stopped short of calling for its elimination. Now an executive order bearing his signature has put that possibility into motion. The idea, however, wasn't new. The idea of it was circulated nearly 2 years ago through Project 2025, a sweeping plan to overhaul the government that Trump, as a candidate, forcefully disavowed. So the first thing they bring up is FEMA. For those that don't know, FEMA is supposed to help with pretty much natural disasters, federal emergencies. So like hurricanes, stuff like that. But what you have is, I'm not sure, a lot of people probably don't know this. There was a report that found out that a FEMA manager told people in North Carolina, workers in North Carolina, to skip any house with Trump signs in the front yard. That has been proven true, by the way. I wish I would have pulled that article up, by the way. But, and then people wonder why Trump wants to get rid of the department. Well, maybe because it's full of a bunch of leftists who want to ostracize the right, and even through a natural disaster in North Carolina.
Yeah, there should be no discrimination when it comes to a natural disaster that we can't predict.
Right. And then people wonder why he won North Carolina handedly. It's because FEMA did a terrible job. Absolutely terrible. They're doing a terrible job in California too. That's a whole nother story, because that should never happen. I think Gavin Newsom is the worst governor.
Are you talking about the fires?
Yeah. At least of my time, the worst governor. And trust me, Gretchen Whitmer is up there as one of the worst, but doesn't even come close to Gavin Newsom, which is pretty sad. But anyway, I got a little bit off topic there. So the thing is with this, it might have been mentioned in Project 2025, but I'm sure a lot of things the president's doing and things that have mentioned in Project 2025 are going to overlap. It was created by a conservative think tank. Of course, some of their ideas are going to overlap with what the president wants to do. And most of the ideas they bring up aren't controversial at all. At least not to the point they're trying to make it. Like FEMA, a lot of people think FEMA is terrible and needs to be restructured. There's no question about that. Here's another quote from the article. A CNN analyst of the 53 analysis of the 53 executive orders and actions from Trump's first week in office found that more than 2/3, which would be 36 proposals, vote proposals outlined in Mandate for Leadership, Project 2025's 922-page blueprint for the next Republican president. So out of the 53 orders, 36 line up with proposals made in Project 2025. So let's go over some of them here. The overlap includes early steps taken by Trump to execute some of his most touted pledges, cracking down on illegal immigration, dismantling diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, and rolling back environmental restrictions on oil and gas. So Trump has been talking about this for years and years. This has nothing to do with Project 2025. It might be in Project 2025, but once again, Trump has always been about this.
Especially the illegal immigrants.
Yeah. Immigration has been one of Trump's top campaigning issues. That's one of the reasons why he won so handedly, is because immigration got so bad under Biden.
Terrible.
Yeah, that
terrible.
And he's doing a great job on getting things back on track. He'll have to step it up, obviously, because of just how far we are behind because of what Biden did, but he's doing a great job. But my point here is, how can you, they're trying to say, okay, he's doing what Project 2025 said. Guys, come on, don't you see this? Don't you see this? He lied. He said he didn't read Project 2025. I'm going to tell you right now, Trump did not read a 922-page paper.
He didn't get past the first page.
Yeah, he's not doing that. I love Trump. He's not doing that. He probably knows some ideas for Project 2025. I certainly didn't read the 900-page paper, but I'm going to tell you right now, I know some ideas that are in there. So the point they're trying to make here is moot. I mean, really, it makes no sense. These are just things he's always said he was going to do. So try and connect them to Project 2025 and saying he lied to everybody, that's hysterical, to be honest with you. Really grasping for straws is everything here. Here's a great quote from one of the president's spokesmen, Harrison Fields here. He had nothing to do with Project 2025. In his first few days in office, President Trump has delivered on promises that earned him a resounding mandate from the American people, securing the border, restoring common sense, driving down inflation, and unleashing American energy. So that's exactly what I'm saying. The spokesperson is saying the same thing. Yeah, maybe in Project 2025, but Trump, this is what America elected Trump to do, was these things right here. So their point makes no sense. So he did disavow Project 2025 when he was on the campaign trail debating against Cackling Lady. I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposefully. Personally, that is not personally.
Oh, I wasn't even reading that.
Purposely, I'm not going to read it, and I guarantee you, he still hasn't read it. But my point is, they're trying to make this connection, and there's no connection to it. That's 90% of what the left does, honestly. Since his November victory, Trump has filled key government posts with people who helped put Project 2025 together. No shit, Sherlock. A lot of people worked on Project 2025, I think like 140. And obviously they were all conservative, so obviously he's going to have some people in his administration that helped with that. That's just common sense. I mean, I don't know what else to say there. Trump's campaign website made clear he intended to reopen Alaska to drilling, which he did on his first day as president. Project 2025 endorsed not only the move, but also the urgency. Once again, this is just Trump said, just the stuff he said he was going to do. There's no connection to be made here. Really reaching out on a limb here, trying to make him look bad. All right, we're going to talk about the left's favorite talking point, January 6th. So give me your thoughts, Nolan, on January 6th.
I honestly don't know what happened.
Okay, so here's the basic overview. Trump lost the election. A bunch of his supporters started having I would say a protest, rally, whatever you want to call it, at the Capitol. People got rowdy. People started fighting with police.
Oh, was this is just a riot, right? When they broke into the White House?
Yes. So this is the left's favorite talking point because they accused Trump of trying to overturn the election, overthrow the government with his supporters. Excuse me. Trump says some dumb shit sometimes. I don't know what to tell you. That's just Trump. The left says dumb shit all the time, so I prefer Trump over them. He never encouraged. I'm actually about to pull up the tweets he had on that day because that's what a lot of people point to. So let me go ahead and pull that up, and I will share my screen here again so everybody else can see as well. All right. So obviously we have timestamps here and everything. So he retweeted Jim Jordan here. For 9 weeks, Democrats have been afraid to have a real debate on election integrity. Why? Which is a great point. These are all of his tweets, so I'm just kind of going over them here. They make a great point here. Looks like they are setting up a big voter dump against Republican candidates. That always tends to happen. That happened in the last election. Overnight, a bunch of votes came in. So, I mean, this happened. I'm not saying this is rigged. It's just very weird how some of this happened. What I really want to talk about is when these riots started happening and when he started going after Mike Pence. So obviously I don't think he should have gone this far saying Mike Pence should try to overturn the election. Makes a great point here. The left really wants to get rid of voter ID so they can use illegal immigrants to get their people into power. Um, here it goes. Mike Pence had the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certified. But here he's defending law enforcement right there. He's saying be peaceful right there. He's telling them to go home. So I don't understand how people can point at Trump, and yeah, he was kind of antagonizing people to maybe get the wrong idea, I guess. He's telling them to fight. Obviously, he doesn't mean go to the Capitol and break in. That's not what he meant by this. He just means let's fight for election integrity. But I did want to bring that up, or to bring up the reason I bring up January 6th is because once again another CNN article. Trump DOJ demands list of thousands of FBI agents, others who worked on January 6th, and Trump investigations for possible firing. So I want to make this very clear. Trump is head of the executive branch. I think he should be able to fire some of the people that work under him if they're not going to do what he needs them to do, and if they're going to actively come after him. Here's another quote from the article. Also, on Friday, more than a dozen prosecutors who worked on January 6 cases were fired by the Justice Department, according to CNN, as they should be, for pursuing this bogus case against Trump for political means. We got 3 more topics here to talk about. Next one here. An offer to the federal employees. Did you hear about this? So I'm just going to read this off. President Donald Trump's offer to most federal employees to resign now and to be paid through September stunned the workers who received it, angering some, confusing many, and raising questions about whether the offer is even legal. So Trump sent out a letter to a bunch of federal employees saying, we're going to expect you to come to work and do your job. If you're not going to, we're going to fire you. But if you would rather quit right now because you're not going to do that, we'll pay you until September for doing nothing. You keep your salary and benefits until September, and you don't have to do a single thing. No work.
Damn, I'd quit right there.
Yeah, exactly, right? I was like, that's a pretty good offer.
And of course, it's illegal. I mean,
and that's something I want to talk about, because I don't see how it's not, and I would like to see them try and pursue this in court, because they're going to lose trying to fight it. I got some great quotes in here that I think are really funny. When a U.S. Department of Ag staffer based in Mississippi received the offer on Tuesday, they read through it, laughing because it was just nonsensical, and then deleted it. He said, I've got my whole entire life invested in the federal government. I'm not going to throw everything away. And you don't have to. He's not forcing you to quit. He's saying, if you're not going to come in and do your job, you can either quit right now or we're going to fire you. How is that not fair? Right? He's offering to pay you to not do anything until September. If you don't want to work, you're not going to work for the federal government and sit your ass at home. That's not how this works. You're going to do what you get paid to do. So just a ridiculous claim and argument by the left, as usual. I got some more quotes here. So federal workers unions lashed out, stressing that the administration might not be able to follow through on it. I don't see why they wouldn't. I don't see any legal precedent that would say he wouldn't be able to do that. Here's another one. But much of the federal workforce is located outside the national's capital, and Trump's offer was met with confusion and skepticism in many of those offices. While some workers said it was unclear from the email if they'd have to continue to work through September, a FAQ page said that no, they would not. So if you don't understand what the letter's saying, you're stupid and you shouldn't work for the federal government. I'm going to be honest with you. They made it very clear what they were saying. I just summed it up pretty much. You work until September. Well, you don't even work. We'll pay you through September. You don't have to work. You keep your salary benefits. It's that simple. Which, hell, if my job offered me that, heck yeah, I'll take like a 6 month vacation.
I do want to ask, within this, does that mean if they go back to work and do their job, they can keep it?
So if they sign the letter, it's a resignation. Okay. So they would no longer be employed. But right here it says employees would not be expected to work and were encouraged to find private sector jobs. So they were encouraged to still go find a job so they could still get paid for, I guess you could call it kind of severance package, and then go find another job. No penalty. So people were saying that it was a threat to them. Here's one staffer. They think we're stupid enough to do it? They're going to have to fire me. I'm going to tell you right now, they will. So not only are you not going to get this amazing deal he put out there, you're going to look like a moron. It was written in a very negative tone, in a threatening manner. Another staffer said it provided no clarity on what was being offered.
Okay, that whole sentence right there. Of course it's going to be in a negative tone. You're not doing your job.
Exactly.
If I was your manager and I see you sitting your ass at home, I'd come at you the exact same way.
And that's what I mean. He's saying, hell, if my manager caught me doing that, I'm guarantee you he's not going to offer me pay until September. He's going to say you're fired.
Say, pack your things, go home.
That's why I'm saying I don't understand how people can be upset by this. It's not a threat. It's saying, come into the office, do your job that you're paid to do.
Yeah.
Quit.
And then it provided no clarity on what was being offered. Read it again, because I think you're going to need it.
And I even copied exactly a part of the memo, exactly what it said right here. Those who resign will receive full pay and benefits regardless of their daily workload and are exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until September 30th. And right there, it says it. You're going to get full pay and benefits regardless of your workload. And you don't have to come into work until September. Pretty self-explanatory right there. Like I said, if you don't understand what the offer meant, I think you should be fired. Mm-hmm. Because obviously, I don't know why you're in the federal government then.
If you're not smart enough to read.
Yeah, to read.
To understand basic words.
2 more things. You're going to have a heyday with this one. I'm going to talk just really quick about the government spending freeze. Here's a great title to the CNN article. Why Trump's funding freeze is deepening fears that he seeks unlimited power, like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. And Trump wants unlimited power. Okay, and I guess the Democrats are fucking Mace Windu gonna come in here and stop him. All right, I don't know what to tell you about this one. If you are running a business, and let's say you're the new CEO of a business, wouldn't you want to know what your company's spending money on? If you were put in that CEO position to better spend the company's money, you'd probably want to look at what the company's spending money on. And you might want to freeze what the company's spending money on until you know what's worth spending money on and what's not. Once again, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Now, this is going to get fought in the court system, and it probably should be, because technically the president doesn't have this power. I mean, we're going to find out, I guess. The Supreme Court's going to decide, ultimately. And the left wants to complain about Trump using executive orders. Don't even get me started. Obama started that a while ago. Biden only extended that when he tried to use OSHA to cram down vaccine mandates. Tell me what OSHA has to do with vaccine mandates. I bet you can't. So don't even get me started on that. You guys started this. Trump's just using it. But yes, technically Congress has the power of spending, so this is going to be fought in court, and I don't think he's going to win. I honestly wish he would, because I agree that a lot of these programs need to be looked at, and funding needs to be allocated differently. Also, here's a quote here. On Tuesday, Trump administration officials said programs that provide direct assistance to Americans, including Medicare, Social Security, student loans, and food stamps, would not be affected. So a big thing when this first came out, the left was freaking out saying Trump's killing you all, when he made it very clear that those programs weren't going to be affected. But the left still lied and told people to fearmonger and to make Trump look bad. All right, last topic, and Nolan's favorite topic.
I love me some TikTok.
TikTok, the TikTok ban. Let me hear your take on TikTok ban. I know you know about this one for sure.
So the whole thing with the TikTok ban, and I don't know, do we still know exactly who got it unbanned, quote unquote? So there were some things with Mr. Beast trying to purchase it, and then Donald Trump saying that TikTok is back. And the whole fit, bro, why even set up the whole thing with TikTok? Because I think it was a whole ploy, which is a good ploy too, if it was, for people to like Donald Trump even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the whole, I got TikTok unbanned, but you just took 15 hours of my life away from TikTok.
Yeah,
it irritated me.
By the way, just on a side note, I deleted the app and I can't get it back.
Yeah, I also looked on, I typed it in on the Google Play Store. It also says that TikTok is off, down at the moment, due to some of the U.S. legal reasons.
And I'm pissed about that, by the way. So I lost TikTok. I thought it was gone. I deleted it the day they banned it, and then the next day it's back up.
Yep.
What the hell? So I got scammed. I got pranked.
So a lot of people out there probably did exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Deleted the app, and then the next day it came back up online. As soon as it came back up online, it should have been back in the Play stores.
So here's what's going on specifically. Trump called for a halt of the ban, entire ban, I should say. Obviously, I can't download it, so it's still somewhat banned, but you can still go on and use it. I think it's a 90-day, 60, 90s. I can't remember the exact term. But in that period, he's hoping that somebody will purchase TikTok. Microsoft's talked about it. It was either Microsoft or Google or both. I can't remember. Some popular influencers, like you were saying, Mr.
I kind of wish Mr. Beast would purchase it. That'd be hilarious.
So, people are interested. We'll see what happens with it. I think. What do you think about the whole premise of it? Like, they're reasoning for it.
I think that there are a lot of apps that the Chinese government have control of. So the reasoning that they want to ban TikTok because the Chinese are spying on us is dumb. Because it could happen on any app that they own. Anything. But why TikTok? Why TikTok?
And, I agree. And I think politicians are so out of touch with the everyday American. I'm going to tell you right now, everybody I've talked to has said, I don't give a damn if the Chinese track me. Or are they going to know I got $12 in my bank account? Like seriously, what are the Chinese going to get from me? Right? My DoorDash order?
You do that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I guess when the Chinese invade, they're going to know what to bring me from Burger King. Like, I don't understand. Oh, well, they can track your location.
They're going to see me staying at home or at the bar. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I do not care.
At that point, just come and have a drink.
Seriously, I don't get it. I do not understand why. Oh, they can track your data. American apps do that. American companies do that all the time. Facebook and I get Meta or whatever you want to call it. And all those big social media giants and Google, and they all track your data.
Yeah, they fixated on TikTok.
And all because it's owned by a foreign entity. Which I don't care if the Chinese have my data. They're not going to have anything good for it. Obviously don't be downloading TikTok on government phones. I mean, Other than that, what's the point? I was like, I don't get it. I do not understand it. So I think the whole premise behind it is stupid. I'm going to go over some quotes. I have not a lot, but I have some quotes here. So most of these are going to be from last year, but I did want to talk about it just because it's still such a big hot topic issue. As the House took up the divest or ban law in April 2024, a representative from Texas compared it to a spy balloon in Americans' phones. Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware, said that lawmakers learned in classified briefings how rivers of data are being collected and shared in ways that are not aligned with American security interest. Here's the thing, buddy. What do you mean American security interest? My DoorDash order? Once again, I don't know what the Chinese are taking from me that's so valuable to American security.
My text messages?
Right? Like, once again, if they can, like, I don't get it.
Boy, they want to know who I swipe on Tinder?
No, nobody wants to know that. I'm going to tell you that right now. Nobody wants to know that. So that's the point I'm making, though. It's stupid. It's dumb. The whole point behind it, I got some more stuff here. This is where a Republican senator talks about why it's a security threat. If you have TikTok on your phone currently, it can track your whereabouts, read your text messages, track your keystrokes, and has access to your phone records. I don't give a shit. I do not care. They can have access to all of that. I don't care. Google has it. Facebook has it.
Every time you say aloud to any of can I access your phone records? Can I access your camera? Can I access your microphone? It's the same thing as what TikTok is doing. Doesn't matter.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I probably trust the Chinese government a lot more than like Google, to be honest with you, or Facebook. Not really. But the point I'm trying to make is that I don't trust any of them. American companies already have my data. I don't fucking care if the Chinese get it too. They're not going to be able to do anything. Last one here, with people who have common sense. Rand Paul of Kentucky here. Most of the reasons the government banned it were based on accusations, not proof. 100% true. TikTok has never been tried and found guilty of sharing information with the communist government. 100% true. Because all of what I said is if the Chinese actually have access to it, which hasn't even been proven. So I think they should have a little bit more evidence. And once again, even with the evidence, I don't give a shit. I do not care.
Just don't take away my TikTok again, damn it.
Last point I'm going to bring up here, and then we're going to stop the podcast for today, is something the left is talking about. Trump's flip on the TikTok ban. So back when he was president, he advocated for the ban, which I disagreed with him then, and I disagreed with the government once again when they did this time around, Joe Biden. So viewpoints can change, opinions can change. That's why 3 months into a relationship is when most relationships break down, because you got a lot of opinions changing.
Yeah, you know that one.
Okay, buddy. My point is opinions change, viewpoints change, data changes, or new data comes to light, I should say. I think Trump found TikTok very helpful in his campaign. He connected with a lot of youth. I found a lot of people my age connected through Trump through TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Now I supported Trump back in the first time he ran, so I didn't need TikTok to support Trump. But I get it. You know, people my age don't really care about politics, aren't into politics as much as I am. I'm probably in the top 5% people who are into politics this much, which is probably not a good thing for me, because it drives me crazy sometimes. But the point is, it reached a lot of people my age that were in politics. So I think that helped him a lot, especially with like streamers, influencers, like Joe Rogan, for example. But they were just bashing him again because he changed his position on it.
And you gotta understand him with his change of position. He does have a kid who he said this on TV that he has a kid that really enjoys TikTok. So that could have been a huge motivation for him to flip his, change his mind.
Yeah, right. And once again, left, don't even get me started on that because do we want to talk about flip-flop Kamala Harris? I don't think you guys want to have that conversation. I could bring up fracking right now because she flip-flopped real quickly on that when she wanted to win Pennsylvania. But anyway, we didn't even say the name of the podcast at the beginning. So this may change, but Politically Crazy is going to be the name of the podcast we do, at least about politics. We might do some other podcasts talking just about random stuff that we enjoy or want to talk about.
Or anything going on in the world.
Yeah. Headlines that aren't politic related. I'll probably do a lot of the politic stuff by myself, just because I'm into that. And I wouldn't want to put poor Nolan through all of my talking.
Yeah, I'm not one of the 5%ers.
yeah, he's not, which isn't a bad thing, trust me. But so we might have some podcasts where we talk about random stuff.
I was gonna say I get all my political stuff from TikTok clips.
Yeah, is the point I was making. I'll still definitely be talking about political stuff on here. Just by myself, I'll be going over some stuff, sharing my opinions. What I like to do is I like to go over fact and then give my opinion. That may sound contradictory, but I promise you it's not, because a lot of the facts can be construed to make a dumb opinion, which is what the left loves to do. Anyway, this was Politically Crazy.
Politically Crazy.
With Caden.
And Nolan.
Obviously, most people watching this are probably going to be friends and family. But hey, I really appreciate it because I thought this podcast was going to be 30 minutes long.
An hour and 1 minute.
Apparently, I can't shut up. So my condolences to everybody. But thank you for listening. And we'll be back sometime. I have a lot of ideas.
Next time we'll be drinking too.
Oh, God. But actually, that sounds like a great idea. So Nolan's going to come up with an idea he wants to do that's not politically related. And I already have an idea for my next political podcast. But once again, thank you guys. And we'll see you next time.